What? Time expired? Not again. Might as well be stuck in 1982. Welcome back, fellow time travelers and comic book aficionados. Working on the old time machine, it's always a never-ending task. I want to get to 1983 and to 1985 to explore more comic books and artwork, and so far it keeps reading Time Expired. Kind of stuck and marooned right here. But I think I know the trick. I just have to relay a few subroutines over and we'll get back into it. Oh man, I sure could use some help. I'm using the proper time tokens to take me to the right year, but somehow the flux capacitor can get overwhelmed. If only I can have another hand at this. Oh, again, getting a strange reading, a subspace signal. I wonder what it could be.
Finally here, rad.
Oh, who are you?
Who
You
am
came
I?
out of nowhere.
I'm Kronos, the way past cool version of you, time travel. I'm gonna take these patient folks on a tour, so get the bus ready, cause we're going through the 80s. I'm from there and I could do it better. You're a little boring, a little stiff, time travel. I'm gonna take over, but I need that time machine. Give it to me. Hand it over, pal.
You can't have this. I've been working on it. This is mine. Only the time traveler can have it. Hey, wait a minute. Wait! I finally have that sucker's time machine. I've been following his time signature through space. And now I finally have it, and let's see if I can fix it. But first, I need to shed a little light on it. Ah, I see the problem. Too much energy in the flux capacitor, and we're not going anywhere. That's an easy fix. Let's get out of here. Before we hightail out of here to 1983, the old time traveler missed a few books. The new Teen Titans. This was the latest team up by DC in the 80s. And it even made those believers over there from Marvel come on over because the artwork by George Perez and Marv Wolfman was awesome. Check these covers out. Look at that. All the action going on. I really like this cover. Read it over and over because I don't have this YouTube that y'all talk about. And look at this. Look at what's going on here. And it gets better because all eyes on this comics. Look at the panel right there, right there. And even sneaking out in the corner, you even have some cool artwork right even there. So the new Teen Titans was the biggest team up for DC and can't be missed. And to be fair to all you Marvel fans, of course we have Daredevil, Frank Miller at that, check it out, and a tragic story with Elektra, April 1982 right here. Great splash page artwork, really a lot of energy and action. Great panel splicing, and we just can't go wrong with any of that. But hey, time traveler, don't miss out on this one. Come on now. So how does the time traveler do it? He must turn some knobs here. Oh, he needs those tokens. I don't have any of those tokens. They must be around somewhere. Ah, here's one, 1983. Let's go. Oh, this time machine really packs a punch. I don't know how he does it. Let's quickly grab a newspaper. They're all over the place. They're rolling in the streets right now. All right, look at that. The U.S. economy is on an upswing and has had the longest sustained growth since World War II. That's pretty good. In 1983, Costco, J. Crew, LensCrafter, where I got these cool shades, as well as Verizon Communication were all founded in 83. That's neat. I wonder if they still have them in 2024. Sally Ride, she's the first woman to travel in space. Really cool. Also, listening to the tunes of Billie Jean and Beat It, Michael Jackson is exploding everywhere. Pretty soon we're going to have MTV. I can't wait to see his music videos. Oh, it's going to be rad. And Star Wars is coming out, Return of the Jedi. I saw some previews. Oh man, I can't wait for Star Wars. Just great stuff going on right here. But what does that mean for comics? Well, in January, we have Indiana Jones and his ongoing series. Love the miniseries and happy that Marvel kept it going. Great John Burns writing and Terry Austin artwork. Awesome, and no bones about it, with all the craziness going on in the temples and that rolling boulder, looking at different ruins and stuff. Indiana Jones is still going strong. I'm happy to have this first issue and just reading it over and over again. Get a load of this. In April, Marvel was really messing with us and created this generic comic book. I mean, look at it. There's no cover on it, and it looks like a nutrition label, something I would see if what's in my macaroni and cheese, no less. And it's kind of just strange. A guy with a helmet, a hero wearing a helmet, an illustrator, one inker, one penciler doing the whole story. I don't think that's epic one bit, although this advertisement for the Marvel imprint kind of epic. There's some Jim Starlin artwork is there. But check this out. It's a generic comic book. What were you thinking, Marvel? Where are you going with this? To put that one off to the side, but now we have a real comic and we have Galactus, #1 in his own comic book, always terrorizing the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Universe. And we have his own book and origin story. And the first couple pages are totally cool. Look at these, side by side, full panel. Jack Kirby, Stan Lee going on, Vince Colletta doing some of the inking. But look at that in the middle. Look at the symmetry and cool artwork. Really neat to see Galactus and his glory and purples and blues. So they should make a movie for this guy. He's huge. He's awesome. Even the Watchers would watch that movie. So this is a really cool to come out. And that is Galactus #1. This book was from May of '83, and so is this one right here. And we have a Michael Golden cover, known for the Micronaut, the Nom. You're just killing it with this cover right here. Just some new action going on, a great back cover with some Mondo babes over there. And it's a neat comic book story. Look what's going on. You have mystical powers through crystals. Also, May of the same month, we have The Dark Crystal. Just came out in theaters. And what is it with the 80s and crystals? It just resonates with powers and frequency. Maybe the time traveler knows more about it because crystals have certain properties, and it was all the rage. There are even trading cards about the whole thing right even here. The dark crystals going on. But man, May exploded with this. And also exploding in comics were more Space Wars, this time featuring the Citadel Wars and Omega Men with the first appearance of Lobo. DC was trying something new with more space travel. We have a bounty hunter right there trying to capture Callista and another mind-blowing galactic tale. So these were very popular. The whole theme of space and going on missions and bounty hunting was done in Star Wars, but now we have it in Omega Men with Lobo. That was June, and this is July. We have The Thing in his own comic book. Also, the return of Joe Sinnott doing the inking as he did it way back in the 60s. Awesome, right here. Ben Grimm right here in his own solitary tale, walking the streets of old Yancey Street in New York City. And it's just really neat to see him walking around again, causing some trouble, cruising for a bruising, and bringing justice like the Thing knows how to bring. It's clobbering time with even more action here. And this guy is super strong, super invincible. So neat to have him right in here. Here we have July, summer starting to sizzle with The Thing issue #1. Also hot and blazing in July was Frank Miller with Ronin. Yes, you know him from Daredevil, but Frank Miller loved to study samurai and the Japanese art and did it here with his 6-issue miniseries. And look at that cover with the red and the black. That shows drama and fierceness that Frank Miller knew how to do. Look at these covers one by one. You can see the action there, the samurai sword in the back. Even that close-up look, there's going to be something in the future that's going to look just like that. And also this right here, that right there, and we have Frank Miller. Each panel all done by himself inside, even the centerfold in the first issue. Take a look at that. Just some of the gritty, gnarly action that DC let us have and put in these books. So it's really neat to see book 1, book 2, up to book 6 of Frank Miller action, July '83. grab a glass of Kool-Aid because it's still hot in August, as we have the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight, first appearing in Uncanny X-Men 120. We have the group right here in their own comic book written by John Byrne. And just great cover art, just some fun scenes in here. You thought Canada would be a little bit cooler, but the Alpha Flight action is hotter than ever. This is where we start to see the ongoing series. Fun, iconic yellow cover that you'd see at your local comic book shop, but just great to see these heroes hurtling from Canada toward you. And moving quickly, we're in September when we have Hawkeye in his own cover right here. Great white background and purple in his ongoing series. Just some really neat artwork. We have the splash page with Hawkeye himself in the background, faded portrait. And then in the mix, we have some of the love interest that Hawkeye always has his eye on and his mind on in his own book right here. So cool. September bringing it in even more with Hawkeye #1. September also brought us some neat independent books such as PC Comics' Alien Worlds, and this cover reminds me of Fiction House's Planet Comics as well as the Wallywood greatness of EC Comics coming back in the 80s with an emerging Dave Stevens cover. The artist was wonderful, known for his detail and exquisiteness. Notice no comic authority code, so when we open the splash page, there's a little bit of risque action going on in a lone world in a planet that's unknown. So Dave Steve starting to do it great over here in 83 in September. One can never get enough artwork from Dave Stevens, already growing his popularity with The Rocketeer. We have some great cover artwork right there, and just very polished. Betty Page featured in here. The Rocketeer, Action in the Skies, and even this right there. Look at the detail, the contrast, the shading. Really a definitive artist of the 80s is Dave Stevens. The Rocketeer, Alien Worlds, always a favorite. Be sure to check them out. Another miniseries starts off in October. You thought Cloak and Dagger was good, but we have Return of the Jedi, October cover date, and a 4-issue series. Loving the purple, the good guys right here from the light side, the dark side represented. Loving the orange background, by the way, Darth Vader. We also have right here the purple with Chewbacca and the supporting cast, and then a mix of everybody for issue #4. Al Williamson, Carlos Garzon artwork, just like we saw in the Star Wars series of the 80s, picking it up again with this mini-series right there. October 83 rocks. All that detail, even here, Jabba the Hutt, and just turning the pages just like the movie, you see everything in realistic action. Just amazing to see this official comic adaptation of Return of the Jedi. Let's finish off 1983 with November with a Thor cover, issue 337. Beta Ray Bill on the cover, first appearance of Stormbreaker right here that could defend against the Infinity Stones. We see it right here in this colossal book at the end of the year, and it was worth the wait. With the Walt Simonson concept, I wonder if they're going to make a movie about it. This would be so great to see in about 40 years. Just really neat new characters, Stonebreaker, right in here from 83 November. Let's take a short break to look at some toys from 1983, and they were just these ordinary little cars. This one's a bulldozer. Wait, these are GoBots made by Tonka. They transformed into robots right here. Their arms even move, their legs can even take steps, and this was a transformation toy from just a regular automobile to a GoBot. Also here we have a red Corvette, the same thing, just seemingly regular part of the collection of toys, but nope, it changes over, and here we have, right there, another GoBot. So 83 was the debut of these guys, and they were a lot of fun. And what other toys did they have in 83? Well, Masters of the Universe and He-Man, Skeletor, all the action figures were releasing mini comic books and figures that go with it. You can see right there the good guys right on top, the bad guys right below, and their weapons and assortments. And these little mini comics gave a glimpse of what the story was all about and really promoted Mattel's toy line for Masters of the Universe. Check this out. If this isn't deviant and great, I don't know what is. Several issues here. Look at the cover art. We have Skeletor right there. We have He-Man right there. So these little pamphlet mini comics came with these great series of action figures. Go figure, go Mattel, 1983. Let's move on and get on to 1984. I have this time token right here, so let's go. Whoa. This time machine really packs a punch. I don't know how that time traveler does it. We're here in 84. Let's take a look at some headlines. The minimum wage is $3.34, and the average cost to own a home is $79,000. How about that? Now computers are making more and more room for the offices and schools, with Macintosh debuting, and you could own one for less than $2,000. And it was 250,000 units have been sold through Canada, United States, and Europe, making it the #1 computer of the year. Macintosh, we're going to get used to that. Sony and Philips Electronics debut the CD to capture your music and digital favorites, and put aside the 8 tracks and also the cassette, because the CD is the rad new innovation of the year. What movies are in the theater, you ask? Gremlins and Ghostbusters, and that's who you're going to call your friend to see those great movies in theater. Is everybody clapping? Well, on commercials and infomercials, the clapper debuts this year and will annoy people for decades to come. This time machine really gets hot if you hold it in your hand, but what's also hot in your fingertips was in March, we have this great cover featuring the team, the A-Team, with Mr. T and some misfit characters coming together to offer some bad action and rad fun times. Here we have Mr. T with the many chains around his neck. Really cool to see. Even the splash page has him right on the front with that mohawk and beard, enjoying a hot dog before getting down to serious action. Adaptation that Marvel did for the show that was on TV, the A-Team, a lot of great pages of art. Maurice Severin and John Romita Sr. doing some of these panels right here. And just neat to see the action, the bar fight, and then also the cigar smoking right over here. So the A-Team, his #1 issue, was a fun addition to 83 in comic. In April, we have featuring here Spider-Man with his black costume, and Jim Mooney had a lot of inking to do because the pages inside show off this new concept and costume. This was a mystery. Looking at comics in the spinner racks, I was looking to myself, where is the red Spider-Man? But more and more comics are showing Peter Parker Spider-Man like this. And this is his first issue in the month of April. Totally rad. Flipping through the pages, you can see Peter Parker trying to get ready for his next action ahead. And here you see this mysterious costume just enveloping our hero in a different way that we usually see, as he's pulling over a face mask and pulling on the sleeve. We have now no longer draping clothes, but this alien-like costume taking a hold here. And just some great artwork, some new stories right here, and a lot of advertisements as I flip through the page, as we have a new form of Spider-Man that's here to stay with this web of Spider-Man. Moving from the month of April to May, we still see the black suit. It's here to stay. More and more comics are showing this version of Spider-Man, even here with Daredevil and the Black Widow on the cover. How about that? This is getting serious, folks, and he's here to stay. The action of Daredevil really kicking butt. Daredevil's a real fan favorite with Frank Miller already in the 80s, and he's not letting up. And this time Daredevil joins up with Spider-Man to even offer more action. Look at that suit right there. Just takes a hold of him just by thinking. He can transform. And look at these panels right there. The symbiote costume. I wonder what the origin is. Stay tuned. Where did this come from? But here it is. April and May packing in the action. The month of May brings us something totally awesome in comic book history. I was here to see it now, and it's something that will stay in the future. So from the month of May here, we have the beginning of the Secret Wars 12-issue limited series with this cover designed by Michael Zeck. And check it out. We have all the heroes we know and imagine and think about all in one cover. What a major crossover event right here as they go to a new place, the battle world, to check out and find the Beyonder and the evil that brings them to this mysterious place. And we have the Hulk right there, the Thing, Captain America. We even have Wolverine, Cyclops, the X-Men, and of course Spidey, but this time he's looking in his original costume. And these covers are truly amazing. We even have Magneto and all the evil supervillains on the same space in the same realm, even with new technology, and they're forced to duke it out. It was met with some criticism, as some thought the story was hokey and critics said it was probably a laughable series at best. But to us, and even in the future, it becomes something more iconic and fun and something that we'll enjoy. Even the Hulk can't get a grasp of it. The weight, the sheer pressure as he's holding this rock structure, truly ingenious of all that art and heroes into one little sliver on the bottom of this issue of Secret Wars. We see the heroes at their best. Look at that, Iron Man chain. Looks like the bad guys are getting the edge here, but will the story unfold? And it does. Even Dr. Doom is in this story. We have, look at the shadows, Galactus. We just talked about him in 82, and here he is, the absorbing man in the middle. Seems to pop up in Thor and other comics. We have Captain America. Maybe the Avengers and the good heroes are getting the lead. But in this issue, number 8, we see something interesting. The symbiote origin is introduced. So in those past books that we saw, we finally see how he acquires this new, mysterious, symbiotic life form that can envelope and enrapture him to have more power based on his psyche and personality. We have the Beyonder battles. Look at the battle world in the background as the heroes are fighting. Then we have Dr. Doom being bested by the Beyonder. The fight ensues. This is a 12-issue series. It keeps going and going. And here we have even more until we have the end there, finishing with a big bang. Secret Wars also has a second and third installation that'll be later. And cooling off from the Secret Wars, the month of August brings us Power Pack, issue number 1, a new comic with 4 siblings of the Power family being bestowed powers from an alien scientist that gives them each a unique specialty. Just going from the ordinary home with 4 siblings just playing along and having fun to gaining responsibility and action and intergalactic adventure. Power Pack offers a unique perspective where kids finally have their power, making it a very relatable comic to us in 84. The 80s were a time where software and video game manufacturers were everywhere, and they typically collaborated with Toylines and comic books, including this one here, where Marvel teams up to create a comic book for Probe Quest and the Hulk. We have Scott Adams, who is the program designer, right over here, introducing this game. It's made by Adventure International, and you can play it at home. Choose your own adventure. Find the crystals for the Hulk. Bill Mantlo was tasked with writing the story, and the artist also jumped right in to embellish and create a little backstory, so when you played your 8-bit video game, you had something to go by here. So comics and video games were really starting to connect in the 80s. If you think video games were the only collaboration that comics had, you're mistaken. Hasbro debuted the Transformers, these changeable toys that make up different characters, and here we have Marvel gaining the licensing right and also comic books with this beautiful Bill Sienkiewicz cover starting the way. This is part of a mini-series before going on to an ongoing series. And look at the laser blast, the faded portraits in the background, and this painted cover. Great Bill Sienkiewicz artwork, already making a name for himself. And here we have Optimus Prime and the Autobots fighting and duking it out with the malevolent Decepticon led by Megatron. So fun characters, red, blue, fun, cool issues going on here, and the artwork doesn't disappoint. Memorable characters like Bumblebee is introduced in later issues, and here we have just a taste of the action of the Autobots versus the Decepticons. Look at all that's going on here. These changeable toys from Hasbro become adventures and cartoons and comics, and they're here to stay and memorable for decades to come. That was in the month of September. By the end of the year in December, we have more robot action similar to the Transformers, but this time with Voltron in this unique cover from an independent publisher right there. Look at those colors, screams fun for any kids to grab and play with and look at. Voltron just offered another escape, another way of looking at comics. And look at the back cover. It offers a little glimpse of everything from the alien warlords and to some of the armament that Voltron has, and that lettering is just great. So finishing off the year, we have this property right there with Voltron and these unique covers that just are another way to get your robotic action fix right in here. And this cover is a really neat one right there, and just one to be enjoyed. Voltron, 80s, can't go wrong. Let's take a quick break to look at a toy that was influential and popular and very notable from the year 84, and that includes Tetris right here on 65 different platforms to enjoy. This game, this puzzle game, was phenomenal, and it was developed in the Soviet Academy of the Sciences by Alexei Pajitnov, whose science and wisdom created this unique game that's addicting and one that's enjoyed for decades, even into the future. These 4 different shapes and pieces are aligned in a row, clearing them one by one. Tetris is the game that was out of 1984. Oh no, my glasses are flashing. That means we have a limited amount of time in 84. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in the rift of time to drift forever. We have to get to 85, and we gotta go fast. Aha, much better. My visors are back. Don't delay. What are you doing there? Grab me that newspaper. We need to see the headlines from 1985. Ah, here they are. Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola tried to change the original formula to New Coke, but it was a flop. It was a commercial failure. They did bring about Cherry Coke in 85. Nike released the Air Jordans, and a pair cost $65. I wonder if that'll catch on. An athlete in a gym shoe? Come on now. You're asking me what movies came out? Well, Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, and the time-traveling DeLorean right here was all the rage. And also, I don't need a DeLorean if I have a time-traveling parking meter. Also, Goonies with a Truffle Shuffle was a box office hit in 85. What was the most influential toy to come out in 1985, you ask? Well, that's the Nintendo Entertainment System. Japanese executives took a gamble and offered 50,000 units to be sold in North America at FAO Schwarz in New York City, and it was a big gamble, and whatever didn't sell, they would buy back. But lo and behold, it was popular, it sold like hotcakes, and the Nintendo became a household name, all starting in 1985, first releasing the Black Box series of games that included this one right here with pinball and the black label and more of a different design, and then eventually Mario 3, one of the longest lasting video game consoles from 1985 to 1993,
we have the Nintendo Entertainment System that single-handedly brought the video game out of the crash from 1983 and brought it back in the limelight. So Nintendo was the iconic and most influential game device of 1985. All right, let's snap out of the days there and get into 1985 with the most awesome, most radical, and coolest comic to come out, and that's Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And here we have the Heroes in the Half Shell right here, created by two artists. They were just having a good time, being silly one evening, eating pizza, when they drew some turtles holding nunchucks and sharp katana blades, and then the rest was born, named after four Renaissance characters. Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello take the streets of New York City to fight crime. Interestingly, the two draw a little bit of their influence from everything, from Frank Miller's Daredevil, where we have them fighting instead of the hand as the enemy, they fight the Foot Clan. Master Splinter holds a small staff, and that's a reference to the blind mentor known as the Stick. So interesting, one might say it's a parody, but no. The Ninja Turtles are truly unique as they travel different dimensions and take on truly great adventures that's all original on their own. The pages are dark and black and white, very gritty, which is really synonymous to the New York City seedy underbelly where they oftentimes have to fight, and a lot of action sequences where we saw Ronin in the year 1983. We have the TMNT crew doing similar things. Almost like Frank Miller, we have those splicing and cut scenes that we see here. As the history unfolds, these four turtles were mutated by mutagen from this company here, TCRI. Eventually, the darker heroes take on a more playful look in the cartoon series that comes out later, as well as in video game adaptations like the one in here. In fact, the cover art right here is heavily influenced by this cover from issue number 4. So TMNT became a popular franchise. It brought the lesser-known Playmates company that made the action figures to rise into power. Eventually, Playmates made Star Trek, the Next Generation toys, also the Toxic Crusaders, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So Hasbro and Bandai and Mattel see Playmates and this new property boosting and coming into the scene. If it wasn't for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the time traveler wouldn't have gotten into comics, as he first started out reading books like these, and eventually Archie's, Image Comics, and IDW, which currently has the property, offers the comics for generations to come. Still relevant, TMNT for decades from the 80s. The year is already hot with that last comic, and taking place in the hot desert sand, we have Dune with the movie adaptation, a 3-issue miniseries. Beautiful white cover coming out here in April, and we have Bill Sienkiewicz doing it again with this great artwork and just these mural mirage-like covers. And even opening up the page, the detail that Sienkiewicz is finally getting into from the space right here, and just the vast feeling, you get this feel of you're in another place. Look at the detail on Sienkiewicz's artwork. Look at that cinema-like style and shading and contrast right there as you're identifying with the villain and the enemy. All eyes are on this comic. Dune in the movie was a box office hit, and 85 brings it alive with comic book pages right there. So this issue continues in issue number 2 and 3, and you can see some of the artwork and the bad guys here living in a more desolate desert area with the sandworms popping up. So Dune is really cool, really neat, and some great artwork to behold. The year also is a big year for Star Comics, an imprint from Marvel. We have the Ewoks here from the Star Wars line with their books. Also Planet Terry, Heathcliff from Saturday morning cartoons, The Muppets. So Star Comics imprint, they're creating their own works, usually aimed towards kids and those interested in cartoons. We see a lot more going on here.
This is a more popular issue, one of the earlier ones right there with Ewoks, and the artwork is done by Maurice Severin, Warren Kramer with the penciler, and David Manick with the story writing inside. A lot of activities for the kids, really cool way to keep occupied on those long road trips in the back, and you could just see how the cartooniness of this comes out. Even the back even talks about the Saturday morning cartoon. So Star is an imprint that offers a lot of fun. The month of May offers a colossal collaboration of artists, writers, inkers, you name it. In this book right here, which is Heroes for Hope, X-Men, every page is different, and even the table of contents shows all the artists, inkers, and contributors right here, from Al Milgrom, Chris Claremont. You can even see Bill Sienkiewicz's name, Neil Adams, right over here, Arthur Adams, and truly a unique collaboration. And it was meant for hunger in Africa to bring about awareness and also for donation to famine relief. So really cool to see a social context being helped through comics. And the artwork is incredible. Look at that layout right there. And every page you try to recognize which artist did, which is the style you see. And it just goes page after page. Wraparound cover, great comic to come out of '85. July also brings the second installation of the Secret Wars right here. We have the Beyonder and all our familiar friends, enemies, and heroes all in one again. And this time, Earthfall is the name of the series. This goes on for another 9 issues, and this happens to be the second installation of the Secret War. The more notable book of the series is issue number 3, where the Beyonder tries to conquer the world with this cover right here and the Earth in the middle. All our heroes are in for yet another adventure. July also brings the return of Bill Mantlo doing the writing, and this time Terry Austin with the artwork, with the ongoing series of Cloak and Dagger right there. Neat first issue right there, way past cool splash page with the Chrysler building in the background and just the grittiness of New York back in action. So somebody has to bring justice, and who does it better than Cloak and Dagger, just bringing about the light in the dark. And we even have this great technical artwork being offered right there. So the duo offers a unique mix, very different from your traditional and typical hero, and the series continues even more right here with Cloak and Dagger. With Marvel doing all these crossovers with villains and action going on with the Secret Wars, DC had to do something on their own too, with Crisis of the Infinite Earth. And this book right here scales down the DC universe as Earths explode, a high death count of heroes, including Supergirl on the cover, with the artists of Jerry Ordway, Dick Giordano, and also George Perez, that we know from Wonder Woman, having a hand inside these pages. And a lot of details there. We have a lot of heroes, and one of the most large epic crossovers from in the 1980s, and this starts right over here in '85. And this book is issue number 7, been ongoing for a while. It's a limited series of a 12-part run. Crisis of Infinite Earth is DC's answer to large crossovers. In October, Marvel switches it up a little bit with the West Coast Avengers making their debut right here. We have Hawkeye and Mockingbird, as well as Iron Man. So different Avengers coming together. They were once part of the original, now rejoining. But Hawkeye and Mockingbird are becoming more popular in the '80s. They have a little bit of romance going on, as you can see right there, and they're offering some more personal adventure as this series unfolds. So the '80s brings the West Coast adventures right here in this right over there 39 page spectacular. And even here we see some characters that we saw from Peter Parker's Spectacular showing up there. So some of the ones that were not as popular are being grouped together in this one right here with West Coast Avengers. The '80s were all about cute, lovable bears, whether Teddy Ruxpin, the toy that would read stories to you, or the Ewoks that debuted with Star Wars, but also the Care Bears. So something about 80s and bears was just really popular. And this was a Saturday morning cartoon with their cute powers that would come out of their chest. They were always out to do good and help their friends and family. And we have the introduction of the Care Bears in their own comic book. And truly unique for the younger audiences. We see some villains and also the good guys prevailing here, and also some philanthropy causes on the back cover, as Care Bears were big and huge in the 80s. If you can't get all your universes straight, whether it's DC or Marvel, but that's okay, because here we have issue number 1 of Marvel Saga, the official guide for the Marvel Universe. Great wraparound covers. This series goes on for a while, introduces different characters. It just sheds a little more light on the wackiness and weirdness of all that's going on. So Marvel realizes this and issues their own series of comics that are based to be a reference. So really neat, very awesome to check that out. If it was up to me, I'd stay in 1985 forever. With the time traveler gone, there's no control of where this is going to go. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the debut of the Nintendo Entertainment System, West Coast Avengers, Cloak Dagger, and even Secret Wars. Truly a cool year in comics. Stay tuned for part 3, and we'll see if the time traveler returns. Ha 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 ha.